Hi book friends, this is Kat. Welcome back to my channel. So as you can see by the title, I am going to be starting a new series. If you were familiar with my channel last year, I did do a series over reading the books of the year for the Christie Award winners. And this was primarily their books that won for Christian historical fiction. And I found some great authors there that I put like more books from them on my TBR. That was fun to do. It did have me stressed a little bit towards the ending just because it got really busy. I had kind of a little rut at one point, but I am excited to be doing a new series. I am going to be doing a read around the world type of book series, I guess. And so what I ended up doing is I wrote down all the countries of the world, and it was quite tedious, but I put them in this is actually a candle holder from Bath & Body Works, but I'm not using it currently. So I put in there all the paper slips from all the different countries and rolled them up, and they're all mixed in. So my plan for this is that once a month, I'm going to challenge myself to read a book from the country that I pull. Now, there are some countries where I know I'm going to have to do a lot of digging for, because you just don't really hear a lot of books set in the country. But also, it's not just going to be limited to books that are set in that country. It could also be authors who are from the country or have their heritage from that country. So I am going to challenge myself. I don't know how long this will take, but we're going to try. And I'm not going to stress about it. If there is a country in here that I just have a hard time finding a book that I would want to read for whatever reason, I will say I am going to put that aside and then pick another one, because I just don't want to stress or read something that I know that I'm just going to DNF or just not like. So anyway, that is what this video is primarily about. And what I will end up doing is I will pull the slip, and then I will vlog my experience with the book, and in my vlogs picking the new one that I'm going to read for the next vlog. Yes, that is what I'm planning to do. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started. It is a Friday, February the 9th, which is fun because I'm going to be on sprints later tonight. Maybe I'll read this book tonight at one point. But yeah, I don't have a country that I'm particularly wanting. So let's see. Let's do this one. It's one of the bottom ones. Okay. Some of these are unraveling. Okay, so here's going to be the country that I'll be reading from. Is it upside down? There we go. Ooh. Okay, so if you could read my writing, but that is Venezuela. So, Venezuela. Okay. It's a bigger country, so my chances of finding a book are pretty high for that. But I'm going to go and see on my spreadsheet and see if I already have books on my TBR that are set in Venezuela or they have an author from Venezuela. So, one moment. Okay, so I have no books in my spreadsheet that I know of that are from Venezuela or an author from Venezuela. So I'm now going to just do a casual search on the internet. Okay, so already we're at a interesting start. I always feel like we're at an interesting start when I start a new video series, but there were a couple of things that I looked at, and there was one that I was really interested in, but then reading the synopsis, it was a no-go for me. So, oh well. So what I found was actually a children's book, and this one's called Come On, and this is by Maria Eugenia Manrique, and the illustrator is Ramon Paris, and the translator is Amy Brill. And this story is about a man and his alligator. This man adopts a baby alligator, and it says it's a biography. It's about their life together. And so, yeah, I'm basically a man who loves animals. So it sounds cute, it sounds sweet. It's 40 pages long, so I feel like this vlog will be over by the time it starts. But that is the read that I have, and I found it at my library, and the only version is in Spanish. So I don't believe I mentioned here on this channel, but I am Hispanic. Spanish was my first language. I do understand it. I can read bits and pieces of it. So I know it's a muscle memory that I need to practice. And so this children's book actually will help with a personal goal that I have this year. One of my personal goals is to practice more of that Spanish, so that way when my children come, I can teach them to be bilingual. So this would be a nice little mini goal to a bigger goal that I'm going to do. Anyway, this I think will be a great book to start. So yeah. All right. That's one down. And I will say, I'm going to try not to pick all children's books, middle grade books, but if I can't find an adult book, and my next step will be to go into the younger category. And I'm also, I guess I should mention this, I'm going to also try not to lean towards the history book section, because knowing me, that would be something I would do, is to pick up the history of the place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try my best to pick more fiction. If it is nonfiction, it would be like a memoir or biography or something like that. So yeah, anyway, I hope I can get that later today, and I'll get done with it pretty soon, and then I'll just pick the next one. I will see you in another clip. Okay, so it has been, I think, a week or two since I filmed that first clip. Time got away from me, and I was looking for the book, and I think I mentioned in the previous segment that this was a Spanish book. So here's the book, and it's kind of an odd shape, super long, but definitely a children's book. The artwork is really vibrant and pretty cool. Let's see if I can get that. I haven't held a book this awkward since, I taught kindergarten for music. But yeah, there's a little artwork and just how it kind of looks 3D-ish, almost as if it's coming off the page with the trees and stuff. So very, very vibrant, very pretty. So I don't anticipate this taking super long. There we go. Let's see, very nice. But like I said, it is in Spanish, so this is going to take some time for me to, kind of translate it in my mind, take it slow. Yeah, I'll let you know what I think of it. I'm definitely interested in this man who found this alligator and how it's a legend even today, but apparently it's a true story. So anyway, there's the book. I will get back to you in another segment. so I'm back with the update, but I did complete this. It didn't take super long. I mean, I read it in a day, but I did enjoy this read, even though it's, not a typical age group that I do read from, but it was just perfect because I did read this in Spanish and just practice my Spanish, really. I know I mentioned earlier about what the book was about, but I really did enjoy this. I thought it was fantastic with the artwork, and I showed a little bit of it, but it was just a sweet, cute story, and apparently it happened at the very end. I mean, it even tells you a little bit of the history of the guy. Probably should hold it this way, but there's the actual guy. This is classified as a biography, so excuse me. But yeah, it was sweet, it was wholesome, great children's book, great artwork, and it does take you a little bit into the town, but it was mostly about the relationship with the alligator and the man who did take this alligator in. And I would recommend that for any of you who have children. A great book to start. And if you guys are even wanting to learn Spanish a little and want to start with children's books, you can start there. So that is my Venezuela pick, as you can see here. So we have read a book from Venezuela, and I will put that down. And so our next destination, I'm going to try to put one more destination in here. And I haven't really decided how I was going to do this challenge. My initial thought was just to do one country a month, but I figured that if the video was short enough, I could add as many as I want to. So we're going to go ahead and pick another country. So I had to go get my little jar of all the countries, and besides, if I try to do one a month, we'll be here for who knows how many years. I don't know. So Venezuela was fun, and I am looking forward to the next country we're going to go to. Currently it is 8 o'clock on Monday night, so I don't know if I will start this tonight, but I'm just kind of mixing them all around. Okay, let me find one. Let's see. Oh, that one feels good. Okay. All right. So the next country that we are going to go to is, I'll let you see it first, and that is, oh, India. So excellent. That's quite a jump. We're going on the other side of the world. So let me go see if I have any books set in India. I won't lie, I don't think I do, but we're gonna check. Okay, so I'm really excited because I actually do have a book on my spreadsheet that does take place in India, and that is Lion by Saru Bareilly. And I'm also doubly excited, I guess, because this is one of the books that I want to read this year. It's in my 2024 reading goal that I have this year. And so this is a nonfiction, which is perfect. I mean, I guess it's going to be a nice palate cleanser from some of the fictions that I am reading this month. But basically, this man was born in a poor village in India. And so he boards a train alone and gets lost. He's 5 years old, and 25 years later, he is trying to find his family. And so I'm guessing he's going to go back to India. So I am excited to read this. There is a movie, I believe, too, that came out with it. So I'd like to watch the movie right after I read the book. But I'm actually very happy that I had a book in the country that I pulled. So I will pop in and give you my thoughts as I read through this book. Okay, hi book friends. This is actually February the 25th, which is a Sunday. So it has been a while if you're keeping track with days, but I am going to start this. Hopefully we'll make nice, decent progress, and then I'll come back in and tell you my initial thoughts on it. So I will talk to you in a bit. Okay, so I'm in a different room. I did read about to here, so pretty good progress. I'm actually on chapter 3, which is survival, and honestly, like, chapter 2 was really long, really packs a punch, let's just say that. In the beginning of the book, you have Saru, who basically opens up, and it's kind of like flashbacks of him as a child. So it does start in like in his older years, going back to India and trying to find his parents. And then you get the flashbacks of him being adopted by this family in Australia, and how this family took him in and even tried to make him feel at home with having like Indian decor and even some like Hindu stuff too, I think, because of the culture there. And they tried to make it a place where he could feel comfortable in. And so he's like 6 years old at this time. And then slowly they start to help him, get acclimated into learning like English. And he starts to, and they don't push him to tell them about like what happened. They kind of let him go at his own pace, and so eventually he's like coming and telling a story. And then you hit chapter 2, which is all about getting lost, and that is a longer chapter. So it does talk about like his life before and how he actually lived in poverty, and basically the family dynamic between like his mother and like his father and the children. And just there's a lot of hard things, nothing that goes into great detail, but you kind of get the gist. And so there's a lot of like talks about like the poverty and the going hungry and just all that he experienced, and basically what led him to get lost on this train and ends up in Calcutta. So, interesting topics like the conflict between Muslims and Hindus, because those two did not get along, and his father was Muslim, his mother was Hindu, and then how that even affected the relationship, how that affected the family life. Sad parts in here. The 3rd chapter is about surviving, but I probably will not read more until I come back home tonight. My husband and I are actually going to leave in the next couple of minutes, and we're actually invited to go hang out with a friend from church, and it's very nice of him to open up his home, but he wants us to come and visit and just fellowship with him. So that will be a fun time, and then hopefully I'll get some reading done tonight. In other news, we actually started Unbroken yesterday, and I've never seen that movie. And if you have been on my channel for a while, you would notice that I actually read Unbroken in September, and I did enjoy the book. I gave it 4 stars. I wanted to watch the movie, and originally we picked up Unbroken. I think it's like a pathway to recovery or a pathway to redemption, but I'll put the picture here. But that's actually the second part of his story, because it talks about his life after he comes back from World War II, and it's his spiritual journey life when he goes to these Billy Graham revivals. And so we went to the library to get that movie, but we had to go back to the library to get the first movie, which is the original story where it does start like his journey through like World War II and what has happened. So far, I mean, it is a gripping story, and you know, we're kind of like hit some of the sad parts, but I am enjoying the movie so far. But we are at the part where it is pretty hard. He's at the POW camp. Maybe we'll finish that later tonight as well, if not tomorrow, but I thought I would just let y'all know I am watching that movie, and then maybe we'll start the second movie later on in this week. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Okay, just wanted y'all to see what we are being spoiled with tonight by a great friend. He has cooked us this chicken. Actually, this is what it looks like before, and this is our plate now. Here's my husband. Hello. And his plate. So blessed. Okay, so today is Monday, February the 26th, and the last thing you probably saw was this huge plate of chicken, and I'm gonna tell you, I did not eat all of it. It was quite funny, actually. The friend that we did meet, he is a bachelor, and he smoked 2 chicken for just me and my husband and him, and he really spoiled us, and he's just like plopped it on my plate, and it's like, you know, basically you're taking everything home, so just eat what you can off of it, and then I'll put it in a Tupperware for you. So I thought that was really funny, but I wanted to share. I was like, if you don't mind, I want to put it on YouTube. And he's like, you know, that's fine. So it was a great time we had with him, and it was really good food. But I just wanted to put in that segment I just thought it was funny, and wanted to share that. So we did spend some good time, even just seeing like his home. He offered to give us a tour, so it was our first time there, and it was a good time. When we got home, I did pick up Lion again, and I read just one more chapter, but like I said, these chapters are long. Currently, I'm on chapter 4. Chapter 3 was hard, still about his survival on the streets, and he's like 5 years old when he's on the streets. And this last chapter talked about his encounter with a group of men and how he first felt that he was safe, and then basically there came a point to where his mind was like, you're not safe here, and so he ends up escaping, like narrowly escaping, because they were chasing after him. So I don't really know exactly, you know, what the group of men's intentions were, but you know, you can guess about it. It was just kind of frightening to read. I'm glad that, you know, there wasn't like super a lot of detail of like what he saw on the streets, because there were some, you know, some things. He describes a little bit about like, you know, seeing dead animals and seeing like some dead people in the streets, and how it was seen as kind of like a common thing that nobody gave extra like attention to. It was like a normal thing. And so, you know, it didn't go into much details, but that's kind of detailed enough for me to get like an idea of this picture. And so yeah, that the first 3 chapters are kind of hard. I'm kind of waiting for that break, you know, because he's surviving on these streets. He's struggling to find food, and how he's 5, so there are other children trying to survive these streets, and there's like a hierarchy almost, like the older kids like bully him and mistreat him, and then, you know, hard to kind of keep reading a lot about it. And I know it's true, and you know, he's retelling his life events, but I'm waiting for that break, you know, just like, okay, where is that hope, I guess. And you know, chapter 4 says salvation, so I'm ready to see like, okay, how did he get out of this? You know, how did he get from India to Australia? So I think we get to find that out, and I'm very curious. So that's this book. And I'm hoping to read another chapter in this morning. It's currently like 9:40, so I want to read a chapter before I get started on schoolwork. And I'm actually going to be journaling. This is my bullet journal, and I have this on my other channel, but I don't really update on this because this is, I feel like, kind of boring. It's my day-to-day like lists and stuff. But in February, I'll just show you a snippet. This is February, and I'm doing a flower theme. So February is violets, so that's why it's purple and gold. And then in January, it's carnations. So I did like a peachy color because for those who don't know, Pantone color of the year is peach. So I decided to do pink and peach carnations. So I am going to do March's setup, which I'm doing the birth flowers as my monthly setups. So March is daffodils. So I'll be doing that and get that set up because I do use this for like social media and day-to-day to-do lists. So there's that, and that's the day. And obviously lesson planning for school this week. That's kind of what's on my radar. So I'll see you guys in another clip. Okay, so my desk is a mess right now, but I did complete my March setup. So I'm doing a daffodil and tulip theme because it is my husband and my 6th year anniversary. The tulip is the anniversary flower for 6 years, and so my husband always gives me the anniversary flower for the year. So that's just something sweet we do. And the birth flower for March is daffodil, so that's why it's yellow and red. So I did not spend all day doing this. I actually had my brother come over. You kind of heard him probably in the last clip. So as soon as I got done with this clip and worked a little bit, I did go out and I visited with him. So I just kind of been driving all day, and as soon as I got back, my husband was home and we just picked up something to eat together, and we were in the middle of the movie Unbroken, so we finished that, and that is a hard movie, y'all. Like, it's not graphic, at least, you know, it's PG-13, but the content's so heavy and it was a little tough. We have the second movie, which is Path to Redemption, so his life afterward and his faith journey. So hopefully we'll start that one tomorrow. But I did read some more of this, and after watching Unbroken and reading this, it's really hard because this is also an intense story. I am currently right now on chapter 7, and he is now talking about his mother's journey, how she grew up, and she also came from a dysfunctional family, very hard upbringing, and some trauma there, and what led her and her husband to decide to adopt a child from India, and you know, their process through that. And it does have some uplifting moments, but a big part of this book is kind of hard to read, and so I'm taking it in chunks as I go. I'm probably just going to try to read one more chapter tonight and update y'all tomorrow about what I've read, but I will see you guys in the morning. Okay, so it is Tuesday the 27th, and I just got home from work. I'm exhausted. But I had read one more chapter in this book, and the chapter talks about him growing up, and it's pretty interesting. They have some pictures here too. I try to not look at the pictures until after I'm done reading. Anyway, now he, you know, talks about how he's trying to map out how he is going to find his family, because he is curious. He's met some other Indian kids in the university who he kind of talks with again about his story, and they try to help him piece together about where he might have been from. So he's talking with them, and he's searching on the internet, which I think Google Earth just came out around the time he was in college. So that's kind of crazy to think about, because you kind of see the births of, Google, I guess. That's where I'm at. And in chapter 8, it talks about resuming the search, because at one point he hits roadblocks. He can't find what he's looking for, and so he gives up essentially. And so now I guess we're going to see that he resumes it. And yeah, so I am this much from the end. So I anticipate if I get down to it, I could finish this book tonight. I don't have any other plans tonight. The reason why I haven't really been flying through this is because it is a lot to take in, a lot of like hardships, and so I just have to take it in doses. So maybe tonight I could finish it. If not, I think surely tomorrow. See you in the next one. All right, good morning. It is February the 28th, and I have finished my book. And oh my goodness, was this an emotional read. His story is hard to read at times. And again, though I don't remember anything like super graphic, but honestly, as a believer, I would say that the hand of God was on him. He doesn't proclaim any faith in this book. He'll talk about like his upbringing with a little bit of like Hindu religion and Muslim religion because of his parents. And then when he moved to Australia, they didn't have like a certain religion that they grew up in, but he believed like someone was watching after him, but he doesn't accredit to a specific person, I guess, or a specific being. With that, being said, I mean, it's a very fascinating read, and I am just amazed. And let's just say there is a heartwarming aspect in the end, and his coming to reconcile what happened and his journey through reconciliation with everything, and then even just finding out about his family, what happened to them. And I typically don't like to read a lot of hard-hitting things. Of course, if it is hard-hitting, I'm always looking to see, okay, is there an uplifting aspect to it? And not necessarily meaning that, their life might have, may not have a happy ending or not, but I guess I'm just a firm believer to see like, yes, even though there is hardships, but there is like this good in the world, like the adoption agency that he went through, and people who have helped him in his journey. There's a glimmer of hope that you can make a difference. That's the best I can describe it. I'm glad I read this book, and yeah. Okay, so that was our trip. We took from Venezuela to India. And so I am done with this vlog, and if you are curious to see another one, I am going to be pulling a different country shortly in another video. I think that's how I'm going to do it. I'll just start the video showing where we're going, and then I'll do 2 countries. Anyway, these were the 2 books that I read, and they were great experiences. I would recommend each. And yeah, so let me know in the comments if there are any great books around the world that I would consider putting on my list. So far, I took the slips out from Venezuela and India, so any country is fair game, especially those smaller countries that I'm really nervous about picking. I was fortunate to get bigger countries that had more of a variety of books. So put in the description box maybe some authors that are originally from these countries. But yeah, that's I guess what I'll ask of y'all. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoy doing it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys recommend. I will see you in another video. Bye guys.